Today is September 8th. On this date in 1966, TV boldly went where it had never gone before. Actually, that's not right. Sci-fi shows, even ones that went to space, have been part of TV from almost day one. Captain Video and his Video Rangers, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, Rocky Jones, Lost in Space. Even Doctor Who got to space before Star Trek did. But the question is, why has Star Trek endured when most of those other franchises have sort of faded into obscurity? Some might say it's because Captain Video, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, and Rocky Jones were all kids shows. Captain Video is notable for being the first sci-fi show on a major TV network and being the first sci-fi show on a major TV network? There are a lot of reasons this show is lost. Between 1949 and 1955, about 1,537 episodes are thought to have been produced. Only 24 of them are known to exist. Of those, only 4 of them are in anything resembling quality where reconstruction is feasible. It is a sad truth, in those days, 90% of the heads of networks thought no one would want to watch a rerun. The other 10% thought, what the hell is a rerun? You know, because Desi Arnaz wasn't around to invent them. So they trashed the films almost immediately after they aired. We're lucky to have the few episodes that did survive. I thought I had it bad as a pre-2005 Whovian. Just imagine how those junior Video Rangers must feel. It's a shame since sci-fi authors James Blish, Isaac Asimov, and Arthur C. Clarke were on the writing staff. The first TV series for Flash Gordon lasted for 1 season and isn't that great. Most of these episodes survived because they were recut as movies for German and French television. The 1951 Buck Rogers isn't so lucky. Only 1 episode survives. Rocky Jones is laughably bad. I mean, for TV of the time, the effects were great, but the stories. Replace the spaceship with wagons, the space pirates with bandits, and whatever aliens they ran into with Native Americans, and you've got yourself a Western. It would be forgotten if it weren't for 2 episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000. The next 2 shows, well, they aren't forgotten. Doctor Who was still going strong, and much like Star Trek, it had a long hiatus. 2 actually. One 7-year gap from the end of 1989 to the pretty abysmal attempt at a joint 20th Century Fox BBC production in 1996. Another from 1996 to 2005. But considering the original series lasted 26 years, I think it needed a break. While Doctor Who predates Star Trek by 3 years, I think the Doctor Who we have now still owes Star Trek a huge debt. After all, those early seasons of Doctor Who were written and marketed almost entirely for children. The original reason for time travel being a thing in Doctor Who was so they could do educational episodes. Then in 1966, Star Trek came along. While it didn't start airing in the UK until 1969, a lot of the people in the British TV industry had seen it while vacationing in the US or Canada. Its popularity proved that you could do a sci-fi show that kids would enjoy, but wouldn't bore adult and teen viewers to tears. Which is right around the time Doctor Who started upping its game so they could hold on to some of those viewers who were 3 to 4 years old when Doctor Who started in 1963 and were aging out of the fandom. Of course, we wouldn't really start seeing change happen until the Tom Baker era. Most high school kids moved on. Well, unless you're that guy. Lost in Space. Look, it's hard to rag on the original series. I mean, The sets were shitty, the acting was hammy, the scripts, well, the original pilot was awesome, but they had to QC it up to take it to series. But for the mid-60s, it was still pretty solid for the black and white season. When they went to color, they upped the campy factor, and it all went to hell. Danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger, danger. To make things worse, it's the color episodes that get the most play and syndication, so they're the ones most people remember. Before you ask, I still haven't seen the reboot. The library was about to get the DVDs in when COVID hit, and you can't reserve things yet. It's annoying as fuck, because everything I've heard about the reboot says it will make you forget the shittiness of seasons 2 and 3, and the even shittier reboot that we don't talk about. But all of that doesn't really answer my question. Why does Star Trek endure when most of those other shows don't? It can't be because those other shows suck. They don't. I love classic Who. At its worst, it's cheese with charm. At its best, it's got a lot of really cool ideas where the special effects didn't exist yet to support it. It can't be because those other shows were campy as fuck. For one thing, even those bad episodes of Lost in Space have quite a bit of entertainment value. I hate to break it to you, but Star Trek has done its fair share of camp. I'd go as far as saying campy acting is spelled WILLIAMSHATNER. Having all of your episodes in existence can help, but I don't think that's it. Star Trek the original series was never a ratings juggernaut when it aired in prime time. Well, at least the way ratings were calculated back then. If you examined it by both demographic and percentage audience, Star Trek would have gotten a 4th and 5th season. A lot of those other shows I mentioned, not all of them, but a good percentage, were written with this philosophy that kids like ray guns, spaceships, aliens, and robots. We've got cardboard and spray paint. Let's go out there and sell some breakfast cereal. But if you strip the shows of those trappings, you got nothing. Whereas if you removed aliens, spaceships, and whatnot from Star Trek, you'd end up with a show about what's going on in our world. How the leaders of our time deal with the issues we're dealing with right now tend to be a status quo that is not working. But the Enterprise crew comes along with their own solutions. One tends to be an instinctive gut reaction to the injustice of it all, embodied in Dr. McCoy. Another tends to be a more cold, efficient solution, which is presented by Mr. Spock. Much like in our world, neither solution is any damn good. To me, Star Trek's always been about a guy, or in the case of Voyager or Discovery, a woman, who comes along offering a third way. 9 times out of 10, that solution comes from one brave person, captain or not, saying, "You over there, and you over there. Can both of you stop being assholes for 5 fucking minutes so we can work this out?" I call that the way things should be. The problem with this approach is sometimes society progresses and we find more flaws in even the sci-fi solution. That is because, praise the great bird of the galaxy, we have listened to Star Trek's message and actually made things better. Not perfect, but better. When that happens, Star Trek feels the need to comment on those advances, which is the real reason it endures, when I don't think any of those other shows, apart from Doctor Who, really does. The franchise constantly reinvents itself for the times. This has happened time and time again. It's allowed the franchise to grow to 6 live-action spin-offs, 2 animated series, and 13 motion pictures. Plus several series you can only get in novel or comic book form. Original Recipe Star Trek gave you Kirk, a man of action. His chief advisors were a logical man and a snarky medic. In the 80s and 90s, most of us realized a gun and a bomb aren't the best solutions to a problem. Enter Captain Picard, the ultimate diplomat. Okay, not the ultimate diplomat. I mean, he settled arguments with the Klingons, Romulans, and Ferengi. He never managed to bring peace between Riker and Shares. In the era of Rodney King and the O.J. Simpson trial, Deep Space Nine had the courage to present Benjamin Sisko, Starfleet Commander, single father, and reluctant messiah. People ask me what I think of Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. I love them, but I get why a lot of people wouldn't. They claim the new series are so different from Star Trek we've seen before. Which is good. If I want to watch Star Trek I'd seen before, which, hey, I do that a lot, I'd watch old Star Trek. If I want to watch new Star Trek, I'd watch new Star Trek. Why do I think they can't enjoy it? A pinch of sexism and homophobia glazed over their esostrophobia. Much like every other Star Trek series, these shows reflect the world as it is. But if they look at themselves, they'd see themselves not in Jean-Luc Picard or Michael Burnham. No, they'd see themselves in D'Couvma, or Gabriel Lorca, or the Empress, or Narissa, or O. It must be really hard on them. Star Trek has boldly gone and told 30 to 40% of their fan base, Nagat Chuck F! But in point of fact, it's been doing that since 1966. Dagger of the Mind, Private Little War, Balance of Terror. All were talking about ideas that couldn't have been all that popular in the 60s. I remember the outrage at TNG episodes like The Host and The Outcast, the latter of which was seen as quite progressive in 1992 and seen as quite regressive now. Or the DS9 episode Rejoined. Ooh, 2 women kissing. Cover your eyes and protect the children. Certain members of the alt-right think Discovery invented social justice warrior Star Trek. Have they never seen Patterns of Force? Of course, if they're Hitler fanboys, probably not. Or how about Let This Be Your Last Battlefield? Yeah, any non-crazy person thinks Nazis are bad, but Battlefield might as well be an after-school special. But considering it was a 3rd season episode, it was pretty good. Anyway, I just wanted to say, happy 54th anniversary, Star Trek, and here's the 54 more. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. And if you want to really help out the channel, go to patreon.com/ParityErrorFilms. And remember, live long and prosper.